Well, a Shelby County judge paused the enactment of a county law to align Memphis-Shelby County School Board elections at the same time as the commission's elections, and that was in accordance with state law. But that plan would have potentially cut 5 MSCS board members' terms short by 2 years, which, of course, those board members took issue with and actually sued the Shelby County Election Commission over. But now there's a pause on putting those 5 board seats on the ballot until the legal challenge plays out. So we are bringing in Bennie Smith with the Tennessee Election Commission to bring some clarity to what's become quite a complex case. So Bennie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Perfect. So first question, what does the Election Commission actually do, and what does that mean for the school board elections?
Okay. The local election commission is the execution arm of the electoral process. So anything regard to the machines, setting up the election, creating the polling places, selecting the sites, who goes on the ballot, sending out the ballots, the UOCAVA voters who have to get their ballots overseas, anything related to the electoral process, that's what the local election commission does. And they're mostly a ministerial in body, so any rules or execution of any rules or following of the rules, they do. But the state election commission is the one that will promulgate the rules and send them down to the local election commission.
Okay, and that kind of answers my second question, but how does that exactly play into the specifics of the school board elections here?
So the coordinator of elections, our coordinator of elections in Tennessee is Mark Goins, and so he sets the rules of how elections are going to be run, what the rules are. When it comes to the school boards, that is something that is done by the county, the county commission, and so we're in a little bit of a gray area, because the county commission shouldn't be doing this. However, they have taken that task on, and so now there's an impasse with what is happening with how we're supposed to carry that function out at the election commission.
Okay, so with the helping us understand the chain of command flow, so you have the state election commission that's making the rules, and so the local election commission is the one that has to implement them
and follow those.
And follow them. Yes. And right now we're seeing where the MSCS school board is suing the local election commission over this state rule.
Yeah, one of the arguments they're going to make is that how can you place a seat on the ballot that isn't vacant? And so if the term is a 4-year term, then the local election commission certified it to a 4-year term.
Okay.
And so what happens 2 years into that 4-year term?
And that is a good question.
How do you place that on the ballot?
Right. And so now that there's a stop, and those 5 board seats, right now we have no idea if they're going to be on the ballot or not. What does that mean for the people who already pulled petitions to run for those races?
They got to pause for the cause. It's an overall pause because we don't know if those seats can even be on the ballot. And so until they have the hearing to sort all of that out, whether it's constitutional to technically make a calendar invite in Outlook to say, hey, we're going to do this, but not consider what happens when you shorten the terms, because you're technically abridging the terms of some duly elected citizens, and the civics lesson is gone because there's a way to recall individuals, but not to just pull them out of their terms. Yeah.
Okay, and so my last question here is, we have the primaries on May 5th.
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo.
Okay, there you go. Well, get a margarita if you want it. But there's a whole process here that these candidates have to be bona fide. They have to get certified by their party, get signatures, all of that.
Yes, they have to get signatures, yeah.
And the judge's next hearing on the decision as far as the stop on those school board seats isn't until January 26th.
Correct.
So is this going to implicate at all, like, solidifying a ballot by May 5th?
It is a time argument, for sure. So candidates have till, I think, February the 19th to qualify. So if it doesn't happen by then, it's not going to happen. I don't think it'll happen.
Well, what won't happen? The school board elections on the ballot?
The school board elections will not be on the ballot.
But there won't be.
You have to, these are state statutes, right? So these are hard stops, right? So to give the election commission time to print the ballot, to set the ballot rotation, there is a number of technical, I think when you go in the booth, you have to see your school board member. You don't see all of them, you see yours. And so there's a process behind the scenes, the back office, to produce that. That's a whole task. That's why we have an entire staff running the election commission.
Yeah, sounds like a busy time for you.
It is a busy time.
All right, well, thank you so much, Mr. Smith, for being here. We really appreciate you giving some clarity on that.